Welcome to the Esperance Shakedown trip. This is a 3-day trip down to Western Australia's southern region with a little bit of camping, a lot of long roads, some shenanigans were had, butts were numbed, and characters were met with beer involved.
Thank you. Looks like you're having a bit of fun there, hey?
Just random bald dude and an Indian guy out front of a daycare center. Good morning.
This is why we do it though. Little moments like this.
And this trip is called the Shakedown trip because this is all in preparation for our 2-week journey into the heart of Australia. And the question I had is, could I handle it? Could the bike handle it? But the story doesn't start here. We start too early in the morning without caffeine, meeting Sav to prepare for the 3-day trip.
Radio Sav should be here any minute and it's time to get going. Very early in the morning, very excited, but could do with a coffee. I'll see you out on the road.
Sav has arrived in all his glory.
Adventure man.
Yeah. Tale of 2 different bikes. Look how clean this is, nice packed in the panniers. And then you got the rolling hobo over here in the corner.
First fuel stop is going to have to be in like 5 minutes because I'm on empty. Surprise. Sorry man, I just ran out of time to fill it up from the other day. Shut up GPS lady, I'm getting petroleum. Make sure to get both legs out, because it ain't just the day today. Oh, I hate the adventure dismount. Anyway, that's enough whinging. I am excited. Let's see if we can get this shit done. 4:20 AM according to my dash. We need to fix that. Am I leading still? Recording. Yeah. Let's also be real, you're the faster rider, so all that pent up aggression too. You're like, come on Johnny.
Full of excitement and some unanswered questions about how the bike and myself were going to go, we headed out for the hills. And one of my favorite things about the early stage of the trip is getting out of the city, because as a country boy, I just feel this weight lifted off my shoulders. And the first leg of the trip really serves 2 purposes specifically for me. It's always to get to know how the bike and the dynamics of it feels with all that weight on it, as well as getting in a rhythm and making up some miles to get out into the bush. But the most important thing of the morning was, where are we getting our adventure latte? And it turns out that Williams is where we were going to get our first caffeinated beverage. I am relying on the kindness of Sav to store my electronics because I've got nowhere to put it. We just pulled over at Williams to get coffee, and because my butt is sore already.
Oh, the fat. Very much of it. Ugh. Yeah. So you can feel the weight when you're reversing out, don't you? Yeah. Nope. I'm down in front of this 4-wheel drive. Up you go.
With adventure lattes coursing through our veins, it was time to head to Narrogin, a beautiful little wheat belt town in Western Australia. And one of the things I love about hitting these back roads and the long distances, and I'm sure guys and girls that do this regularly will agree, is the almost meditative state that these roads put you in. The long distances, the purr of the engine, the wind in your face, it just puts you in this almost adventure trance where your mind is free of all the concerns that you left behind in the city, and you're just one with the bike, enjoying and soaking up the experience. I really love how these kind of trips force you to be present. I think it's one of the special things about motorcycles and adventure trips in general. But my mind wasn't completely free because fuel was on my mind. It would be a constant anxiety in this trip, and one of the big challenges I had was filling up my brand new bladder. And let's just say it didn't entirely go to plan, as you'll soon find out.
It's one of the automatic. Oh, back up to the other one. Prepay. I'm going to the other place that does prepay because I would get yeah.
What was hard to pick up there is I'm talking to Sav about not wanting to use the prepaid fuel. He loves BP and didn't mind, but for me as a country boy, I'm allergic to those pay yourself terminals because they are the death sentence of these little country towns. The lifeblood of a country town is the service station, because if you don't have fuel, people won't stop. And if people don't stop, they don't spend money. So if I can help it, I will always go to a terminal with a human being, because these services matter to the country towns, and I want to reward the company putting in the effort to keep these towns going. And with a little bit of trepidation, I started filling up my bike. And the worry here was the fuel bladder. I'd never used this particular fuel bladder before, and I really wanted to know how it was going to mount up to the bike, if it was going to work properly. There was a little bit of concern going through my head, and it was made worse by a rookie mistake with a new fuel bladder. Luckily, Sav pulled up to save my bacon, as you'll see. It was just a rookie mistake not putting the nozzle in far enough. So let's see me stuff up the basic operation of a fuel bladder. I know it's all professional here at Solid Moto.
What do we got here?
Just got fuel everywhere.
Looks like you're having a bit of fun there, hey?
How did you fill it up?
Fuel for the next leg.
Thanks, man. We have just mounted up my fuel bladder after pouring a whole pile out over there. Rookie mistake, Sav saved me. But it looks fairly sturdy. I think we're alright, a bit wobbly, but we should be alright.
Stay.
Yeah.
We'll have fuel.
Yep. Fuel's better than no fuel.
With a few little micro adjustments to convince myself that the bladder was mounted properly, it was time to hit the road once again. And also a shout out to bungee nets, such a great thing if you got soft luggage. This one right here is the OSAR bungee net from Nelson at Adventure On Store, and I absolutely love it.
Honestly, this bike is running like a dream, man. It's so nice out on the open road.
And I made that comment to Sav about just how good this bike was doing early on in the trip, and that didn't change. My surprise at how competent this bike is out on the open road, fully loaded, albeit I did adjust the suspension to cope with it. But this, remember, is a styling exercise motorcycle with the heart of an adventure bike. And my job was to bring that out with accessories, and I accomplished that task. It just did brilliantly, trucking through these backcountry roads, sitting at highway speeds, fully loaded. What a joy to ride. And a quick tip to anyone with a giant loop cactus water reservoir, a hydration pack line will click straight in and make your life a hell of a lot easier on a big trip.
That works nicely.
And with my butt rejuvenated and my hydration line plugged in, it was time to get to Lake Grace.
Righty, me and Sav just stopped at Lake Grace for a pee and something to eat. Bike is doing really well actually. We've both routed our water lines just straight into our reservoirs. It's been quite good. Just hop off, have a quick sip, keep hydrated, extra water bottle. Pretty happy with this too. I'm not sure if you can see from there. I was worried about heat issues. Not a problem with Nelson's OSAR exhaust guard. We're all good. Just when we hit like the 260, 280 mark, just keep an eye on the rear view mirror.
What I was saying to Sav just then was keep an eye in the rearview mirror for me, because this trip from Lake Grace all the way to Ravensthorpe was going to push my bike's range to the maximum. That was the entire point of this trip really, was to see and game plan for the long stretches in the Australian outback. And though I'd run my bike to reserve a few times to try and figure out how much range I would get, those were always in perfect conditions. Right now on the way to Ravensthorpe, the wind was 40 kilometers plus, as well as I am loaded up to the max, packed for the 2 weeks mind you, just to find out what my fuel range was. And as we'll find out soon, that wind drastically affected my range, which is what we both thought and is why we're out here to start with. But before we find out how close it was, let's have a few more brake stops before Ravensthorpe.
Here we are in the middle of, where's this, Collier?
I got no clue, guy.
Somewhere out in the wheat belt on the way.
Outside of a kindergarten.
Ravensthorpe, yep. Nothing sus. Just random bald dude and an Indian guy out in front of a daycare center. It's been good. I was just saying to Sav, I was a little worried I was going to be super uncomfortable, like painful, with a bike that looks nice but doesn't have any practicality. But it's actually been okay. I think just the way I've got it set up, it's going to work. I'm going to need ibuprofen and Panadol each night, but it'll work. How are you feeling?
Can't be more comfy, I reckon. Got a little armchair there.
All smug on his 719 GSA. And again, I'll point out, like, look at the difference here, man. Like, there's just utter chaos going on in the back of my bike. and then just
Oh, it looks like a bit of
serenity.
Yeah.
Lovely.
There's
Nice.
chaos inside the panties.
Yeah,
though.
inside the panniers is a little different, but on the outside it looks nice. Mine is exactly the same chaos inside as outside. Anyway, we're going to have a bit of a rest and a drink and then get back out on the road. We'll see you out there.
There's always a little bit of sadness leaving these little country towns because you just blow straight through them because you've got to make up the time. But every little country town has its own little story, its own characters. This sleepy little town that we're pulling through, which I've forgotten the name of, is just like the town I grew up in as a kid. And there's so many great little things going on in a town like this. You just don't know if you don't stay for a little while and listen. Oftentimes you can start to go a little bit stir crazy on the bike. Your brain's seen one too many trees, one too many lumps of dirt or anthills along the side of the road, and the monotony is about to drive you crazy when all of a sudden, bam, a spectacular view just hits you. This is Lake King, and at this time of the year it turns into these beautiful salt flats, and it basically feels like you're riding on the moon. It was one of the highlights of the trip, just coming over this rise and seeing this beautiful landscape in front of you. The wide open skies of Western Australia with the beautiful salt flats of Lake King. It was spectacular. Momentarily captivated by the views, I forget about my fuel range and whether I'm actually going to make it into Ravensthorpe or not. And as we're trucking along and I hit about the 288 kilometer mark on the speedometer, there's the little orange light of doom flicking on and letting me know that I'm on reserve. Now, I don't actually know how far I'm going to make it on reserve, so from this point on, it's just crossing our fingers, praying to the adventure gods, and hoping for the best. Of course, I've got the fuel bladder on the back, but I really want to know when this bike will conk out. Let's see if we make it to Ravensthorpe.
Made it in on fumes. I was on reserve, hit about 50 kilometers on reserve. Just made it to this petrol station. Super windy. Good times. Sav, what have we done? Explain to the people.
Well, the typical gas station drill, put the helmet on the mirror, push it away and drop the helmet.
It was your turn.
Yeah.
Probably mine next. I used all my luck pennies pulling in here on reserve, so I've never been happier to fill up with fuel. How bad is it?
Oh man.
Uh-oh. Is it the not joking kind of bad?
No. It just has to clip in. Just haven't found the right way to do it. That's it.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll put the camera away because we got coffee and caffeine and bad service station food to consume.
We're getting to the pointy end of day one here, and this is where the difficulty of the ride snuck up, at least on me. I can't speak for Sav, but for me certainly. I thought the challenge was going to be the fuel. The wind went up another notch as we left Ravensthorpe heading for Esperance, the destination of day one. It got pretty hectic. It was buffeting around my helmet really bad. You've got a sore neck. But every now and then you get a view like this, something interesting, something that sparks that imagination and gets you through to that next point and keeps you focused. So I really appreciate these country towns and out on the back roads when there's just a little quirky something on the side of the road, or a spectacular view, maybe even just a bridge with a river like this. It keeps you engaged and keeps you hunting for that destination.
Oh, son of a whore's left tit. That is windy. I think. Oh, I think that's safe to say that's the most hectic wind I've ever been in.
Just pulled off. We're about 90 k's out of Esperance in the middle of nowhere, but it is super windy. How you feeling?
I think I'm still good, man.
Yeah.
The wind's kind of keeping me from falling flat.
Yeah, my back is getting a bit sore hanging on into this wind, but other than that, pretty good, man. Bike's doing good. Everything's nice. Happy.
Yeah, man. Keep going.
See you out on the road.
We got there on the dirt.
And at that stop, I mentioned to Sav, and he thought I was insane for this, but I didn't bother hooking up Spotify to my center, so I could neither talk to Sav above 60 kilometers an hour, nor did I have Spotify for 720 kilometers. We left at 7 a.m. and we got into Esperance at maybe 5:30, so hours and hours of just solitude and silence. But if you're a parent, you know that stuff is like gold. So I just enjoyed myself that first day, listening to the engine hum and soaking in the scenery as we made our way finally to Esperance.
Oh, man.
That was something.
It's good. Oh, got it done. Well done.
Yeah,
Job.
sense of achievement. Let's go see our accommodation for the night. Swanky. Oh, separate bedrooms so we can both snore.
Yes.
I don't care whichever one you book the place, take your pick. You want the big bed?
Sure. Why not?
This is my room
I
for the
won't
night.
say no.
Oh, happy days. Let's unpack the bike.
Yeah, fuck, that's even
Oh,
I think if I carry up shit from the top.
this is the crappy bit.
Yeah, yes. Things as well. It's just
Remove all the stuff. Back inside. This is my room for the night. Single bed. All my crap everywhere. Alright, time to get changed and maybe have a shower and get some food. They made it all the way to Esperance. And so did Sav, wearing his KTM fanboy shirt.
hey.
Austrians and the Germans. Now it's time to find some food.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
And with delicious pizza in our tummies, we reflected on what a fantastic day one was. And day 2 was to hold plenty of surprises as well, with beautiful views like this. But we'll just have to wait till episode 2. So don't forget to stay shiny side up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.